Let's say you want to start early morning to get things done, just get out of the way. It's a beautiful day. Now, when I started out, it was really, really cloudy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to welcome you guys to my live. You're speaking with Alisa. This is my channel. I still have it as my name. I always come up with different names that I think I want to add to my channel, or sometimes start another one for food, one for California, one for different subjects and stuff. And then I never really do it because of my interests are so wide and vague that, they're all over the place. And I have yet to really just focus on one subject. Like, it's more than just about food, it's more than just about the lifestyle. It incorporates a lot of different subjects. So I hope that it all interests you guys, and I hope that you at least learn something, that there's something of interest that keeps you coming back. Because I noticed I got half and half on the last stats. The statistics told me that uh, half of the visitors at that point were new, and then the other half were my regular visitors. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I know it has been a very fast paced year. We're already in October, and then we got November, December. That's months, and then we're into another year. So we've been writing our goals down. We've been accomplishing our goals, taking each goal step by step until we completed the goal. So, congratulations, not only to myself, but to you guys too, because I know a lot of you are following and doing the same thing that I'm doing. And so, we're getting our steps in, we're eating right, we're doing the things that we need to do to get it right. You know what I'm saying? To live a little bit healthier lifestyle than how we were before. So, I'm happy that everything is going well. Um, I didn't expect to not get up and down the stairs. I didn't expect to not have, um, the accessibility issue. So I'm very happy that we still were able to get our goals done, that we were still be able to achieve our goals, and that means a lot. So I'm glad a lot of you have stuck with me. I'm glad a lot of you were able to do the same, because I know it's challenging times, and we managed to get through a difficult year. And it's now, looking back, the year went by pretty fast because we're in October. So this month, it's the same thing. I know sometimes it sounds repetitive when you keep saying the same thing and doing something similar, but we have changed up things because we've accomplished the goals, we've completed. So that was part of the point, um, is to not stress out over the things that we don't have control over. That was the point. And if you're still able to find ways to do the things that you enjoy in life, even though you may be stretching it a little bit, adding up pennies, clipping coupons, waiting for a sale to maybe purchase something that you normally would have just bought, regardless of the price. I mean, all of that has changed. I know for myself, sorting through all of this stuff that I have had for years, that I still keep because I can still use it. Why get rid of it when I can still continue to use it? You know what I'm saying? Why spend the money on stuff that you really don't need? But definitely getting rid of things that just no longer serves me. Just, I know that I won't be using it, and if it's broke and I haven't really fixed it up, or did what I was supposed to do with it, then it was just time to get rid of it. And that's what I ended up doing, especially when it came to all the bags of papers and boxes of stuff that I had from the nonprofits. Even when I start the nonprofit back up, I will be doing a totally different type of nonprofit organization than what I had before. And with this particular revamped nonprofit, it's going to deal more so with decision making, like how we spend our money and our time, regardless of the amount of money that you have. There's ways to spend it a little bit better than say how we were doing it before. There's ways to really make this run a little bit smoother than how it was going before. So I trust that all is well, even though it is just challenging. I am so grateful. I am so happy that a lot of you have shared with me your accomplishments. That means a lot. And I really thought some of you were just coming in, just messing with me, saying, yeah, yeah, we did it. We did our goals. We got our steps in. But some of you really did it. And so I am so happy to know that you guys actually did the darn thing. You got your steps in, you're losing the weight, you're eating the right foods, you're meeting better people, and you're not going through traumatizing events. That was what I was really I was putting out there for you, that you start having better experiences. You know, that you were making better choices for yourself, and that makes a difference. Let me read some of these comments. I'm sorry, I'm rattling on here. I have hi, and it said hi. And Bree, hi Bree, hi Rummy, Sarah. And where are you from? California. I'm in California, guys. I guess some of you are just now logging in. I probably should wait before I actually just start um, saying, you know, what I have to say. Wait till you guys actually come in. But yes, if this is the first time to my channel, my name is definitely Alisa. I was born here in California. I'm at home, and I had a sad situation where my mother had passed, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I didn't want my brother to lose my mother's townhouse. But when I talked to him, he said it was his townhouse, so I just let it be. And I didn't know what happened to my mother. I didn't know what happened to my mother's dog. And then we had the pandemic. So I had no clue of just what was going on, other than the fact that I didn't have my wheelchair. And at first, the house that I could stay at, I knew they were going to sell it, but they hadn't sold it yet. And then when they had the gold rush come through California, where people were selling the houses for like triple, three, four times of what it was when they bought it, everybody took advantage of that I knew. And so there was only one house left, and that one didn't have a garage. And so the point is that I ended up sitting in my car one day looking around, and I'm like, wow, the phone isn't ringing. No one's asking me for money. I didn't have to give anybody a ride. No one was really um, interested anymore. And so for me, that worked in my favor. Um, I was saddened that my mother had passed, because I didn't expect to not have my mother in this world. I did not expect that. And then dealing with my stepfather and everything, it was just all a lot. But California is my home, and what I wanted to do was just go up and down the coast and show you the beautiful state of California, why I love it, and my family and so forth. But a lot of my family members have since then passed on, and I love them dearly. And now it's just, I started focus on myself. I knew myself well enough to know what I could and couldn't do. And I've just done the best I could without the wheelchair. I'm walking now. I still need my cane. I still need a wheelchair, but what I do when I get fatigued and tired, I just go back and have a seat. So I'm still working at it, because I want to also do another marathon. Before I was hit by a vehicle when I was traveling down south, I was trying to put together a couple of facilities where you could go and get some type of care where it's a little bit more natural, and consult people who have known about this type of healing for years and could help you focus on what's best for you in a natural way versus taking a lot of meds. So that was my point of going down there, because we are also part native, and there's some land out there that for some reason was available and was not claimed by a tribe or anyone. And I was trying to see if the state would allow me to turn the property into like a healing center place. And this was like the beginning when people were starting to do, um, you know, the traveling and getting a van or something and type things. So I was going to have different ways that you could stay, at the facility and get it set up. But the way that things turned out, it didn't pan out. And unfortunately, I was hit by a vehicle. I was staying with a young lady and I had all my stuff there, and I'm still trying to travel. And she really wanted someone who was going to be there at the house, not just leaving their stuff. But I still had to pay her. So it wasn't like I was just leaving my stuff and not paying rent. I had still had to pay her. Um, and that's why one day I had asked her, I said, I'm not really staying here. Could I pay less? Because the insurance company had reneged on their agreement to pay me for my medical leave. So long story short, I ended up just getting everything, coming back home to California, and was staying at the townhouse there that's between the Claremont and Pomona freeway there, the gated community there. And my vehicle, the guy messed up my vehicle, and then I tried to take it to the dealership, and they just topped it off and messed it up. And one crazy guy that was on their lot, I don't know if he was an employee or what, because they never did tell me anything, and they never did volunteer to repair the vehicle, even though it was damaged on their property. So by law in California, they're supposed to give you the summary that you pay for to know what your repairs are going to cost and what it is that they're doing to your vehicle. Well, they had refused to give me that. But what I did when I was on their property was I took a picture of the paper they wouldn't give me. And then that's how I put that up in that video that I made for you guys. But because it was during the pandemic, it was hard to get an attorney. It was hard to get anyone to help me fight for my rights. And now looking back and finding old videos of other people that had issues finding someone to help them fix their vehicle, I saw that a lot of other people went through a similar situation and lost money too. So now I'm using credit cards. Before, cash was king. Cash is still king in my life. I prefer using cash. However, it's very difficult to get cash back. Once you put out that cash, um, it's just hard to get it back. So the replacement of the money and still needing to repair the vehicle became an issue, and that's how I started using Affirm the credit. So credit is very valuable to me, and even I got taken by some of the one employee there. They overcharged me over $300 worth of fees that they made up to be able to withdraw. I got some of that money back because they did it on my credit card. So I got those fees back, but the repairs that they were supposed to do that I gave them the money through Affirm, I didn't get that money back. So I said I would tell you guys one day, make a video about using Affirm, because I was telling you that I like using them for the mere fact that they were there for me when I needed the car repairs, and they gave me the credit that I needed to get it done. Now, I can't blame Affirm for people not having integrity and misuse of the money that became available. However, it is difficult when you are dealing with different businesses that aren't really ethical, or not really on the up and up with something. So with all that said, it's still credit. You still can try to dispute something, and they said they'll look into it, whatever, but you know how that goes. There's no guarantees. So I still pay for what I have to pay, and that's just how it goes. And so currently, I just decided to really stop doing a lot of stuff. And I stopped doing, as I told you guys, Facebook. I put that on a community page. I don't buy anything from like some of these mail-in places anymore. There's some very popular ones. I don't even use them anymore. And I even stopped buying a lot of stuff off of TikTok, but I did want to tell you guys about those pants that make you look like you have a real nice buttocks, bootylicious buttocks. Those pants help with my circulation. Even though they're meant to make you have a certain type of fruit, apple type physique, because of the material, and it pulls up the body, it helps with circulation. So even though it wasn't cotton and it said that it was, I wanted to at least give its pros about the ability to help with circulation. The cons is that it was not cotton. I prefer cotton material because cotton breathes in the summer. Cotton seems to work better for me. But I know each his own. Some people don't have a problem with using nylon and other type of synthetic type of materials. But I have to have cotton, silk, or some type of natural fiber. Natural fibers just seem to work best for me than the other type of stuff. So I wanted to share that with you because I never did put the picture up with me having those pants on. I decided not to because it wasn't cotton. Even though it said it was cotton, I bought it believing that it was a cotton product. And that's the thing with TikTok, is that some of these products are not as advertised. So they'll say that it's cotton, and then when you get it home, it's some of it's not even a percentage of cotton. Like it's just I've never known people to be able to put something up for sale and it not be what they advertised. So with all that said, I still recommend the candles, the incense, the fan, the AC that we got off of the TikTok shop. Those type of things work wonderful. And if it doesn't, like one of the fans that I bought, because when I bought that first fan that's still working now, I bought a second one, and that second one stopped working for whatever reason that it was, and they went ahead and gave me the refund for the fan that stopped working. So they will give you your money back as far as my experience. So I'm just sharing with you what's working for me and what's not. And the goal was to go ahead and pay off the credit cards that I had to use and so forth. And then for me, with not getting the money from the accident and not having the insurance money, I had to go with types of assistance that they have out here in California. And I really don't want to do that. That's why I've been searching for different ideas and different things that I can do to make up a little bit of supplement from taking that time off from the bank, from working at the bank and stuff. And then it's very challenging for me at this time without having Fosse as an agent, without having the friendships that I once had in the industry to hook me up with little parts and so forth, to make commercials or money, movies, whatever, plays, whatever that it is, to be able to make that side money. So I still look into things to see what's available, and I'll definitely let you guys know. The singing part, there were some people that I was going to do some things with, and then I don't know if I got paranoid or I felt like they were shady. I don't know what it was, but I decided not to do it. And it wasn't like I was getting some insight to go with this or that person to still be able to get the music out, because I didn't want to just throw anything out there. If that was the case, I can make a video like we're doing right now and just throw something out there. But I really wanted to sing some particular songs, and I didn't find what I was looking for to make the songs the way that I had envisioned it to be, um, you know, how I wanted it to be put together, I guess. I try to make it simple instead of just trying to use words, big words. And then sometimes I oversimplify. Like I said, I tell you guys, I oversimplify, and it seems like it just makes it more difficult. But I hope you guys got your naval chart together for the astrology. I have some good stuff together for that. As far as for me, um, I wanted to talk about the karma issue because I know a lot of you believe in karma. And I told you guys before, I really didn't necessarily believe in it because of the type of lifestyle that I led. I was always around older people. My aunt, uncles, and so forth, they were all up there in age. So I just had a different lifestyle. I didn't have a chance to really, let's say, build karma other than taking care of them when in their older age, because I could not leave them. I could not leave them like that. And they at that time did not believe in any kind of government assistance or anything because they owned their own. They did their own thing. They owned their own homes, and they weren't on any kind of government anything. They were not generational um, welfare type thing. It was a different thing for them, but it doesn't mean that they were rich or anything. They just had a different situation going on in America, and I know that's hard for people to understand. Um, you know, they were in the trade industry at one time, so they had currency coming in, and then as like the main breadwinner would die out, or the police would shoot him or kill him, or whatever the situation was, where the main breadwinner was no longer in the home, then they still had the houses and stuff, but they did not have that same source of income coming in. So a lot of their friends and acquaintances would make arrangements for them to still be able to, pay electricity bill, or sometimes they would just pay it for them. And then they knew the butcher and all that kind of stuff, and they would still do like what do they call it, barter system. They would still do different things like that, but they were just from a different time and a different era, and they just lived differently. They didn't have a lot of you know uh, they weren't trying to match anybody else's lifestyle. They lived their own lifestyle. And unfortunately, I knew back then, because of their age, that most likely they would not be around when I got older. Like, I did not see them. They were already like 70, 80 years old when I was young. So I knew that they would not be around um, much longer, regardless of how well they ate or how much exercise they got. It's just a natural cycle of life that I knew eventually they would not be around. Now, at that time, my Aunt Sarah, she would say, well, Paul will deal with the house, or my Aunt Kat, she said Rem Foley would deal with the house. So all those houses, all that property that they had already assigned somebody else to deal with it. So I ended up not inheriting any of those properties. And the one with my mother, you would think I would have got something off of that. But the way that my brother had responded when my mother died, I just let it be, because I knew it was going to be difficult. I knew he didn't really have a set of people to help him. And as a young man, I wanted him to have something. But I really didn't want him to sell the house. I would rather for him to figure out something where he could have the house in case of emergency, to have something to come back home to. But he didn't want to come back home to that. So it would have been his choice if he wanted to sell the house, the condo, whatever that he wanted to do with it. I was okay with that. I just wanted him to know some things about the house, because when mother had an issue with the foundation of the condo, split where how the condo was built, it split down the middle. And normally when you purchase property like that, they have to pay for the repairs, but they refused to pay for it. So she had to go through some government agency in Tucson to help fix the crack down the middle of the living room floor through the house. And it used to flood all the time, and they didn't want to deal with it. So that kind of keeps me from not really wanting to buy a condo. But I know there's condos, townhouses, and duplexes and things like that. It really depends on what state that you're in as to how those laws and regulations work. But HOA seems to be across the board a pain in the butt. I don't care what state you're in. I have yet to really hear about a really cool HOA group of people. So some have been decent, but I have not heard of anyone telling me how wonderful their HOA has been overall. But you know, I don't know. I processed. We learn to process things, and then you move forward. You have to, because if you get stuck on they did this, that, and the other, and this happened to them, and therefore that, you just keep going in that same cycle, and it seems like you just never get to break free. You don't get the breakthrough if you hang on to all of that. But I will say there is a benefit from learning from other people's, if you want to say mistakes, or other people's experiences will help you to make a better decision for yourself. And that's what I've learned through it all. Um, I'm mostly grateful for the mere fact that I was able to make it here with all of my stuff, have the time to process my mother's um, death, or change of scenery for her. She's in a different space and place now. I don't know what people feel comfortable saying now, um, but her passing, and then my aunt's passing, and others that had passed on before her, um, I'm grateful to just have the chance to process all of that, and then still be able to live a little, to enjoy a little bit of life. I'm grateful, and that's a lot that I wanted to talk about, is that gratitude in life, being grateful for what you do have, and still, as I am, getting rid of stuff that is no longer serving me, that I no longer um, have use for it. So there's no need to try to get a storage to keep carrying certain things. I do want to get one big enough to put the vehicle in while I'm traveling, so I don't come back and have more things that I got to repair. That seems to be an issue, and I think as long as the politics are the way that they are, that may continue to be an issue. So I definitely need to put the vehicle somewhere where it's not getting damaged, because I don't know these people. And like I said, how they treated me at the West Covina Jeep dealership, um, I have to make better choices as to as far as how, where I leave it, and not being able to um, I'm up there in age, so I'm not going to be able to just jump out and be fussing at somebody for trying to mess with my vehicle and stuff. So I I choose to put it away somewhere where people can't get to it, and then get some content for you guys and chat with you guys about what's going on here in city life. But I did take a couple of videos on my way after running the errands and so forth, and getting the vehicle checked out for some more repairs, and what all money I need to do to get that in order. So with that said, we will be doing some traveling, and the changes in California doesn't mean that it's safer, because the people have changed so much that they're angry. And it's what I don't get, and maybe it's just the maturity that I don't see, or just people are angry, they don't care, and they will sometimes act on it, and that's different than before. But being a woman, you always have to have a little bit of paranoia. You got to be a little bit paranoid. That's just the world that we live in. You just have to be a little bit paranoid now. So we've had a lot of issues with young women. Um, Usually I don't like to put too much of that out on the ladies in distress um, Twitter or X that they're calling it. But we just was having so many women come up where they were missing dead or what, something horrible happened, and you just want to share that, ladies, watch out. And it was some kind of interaction with the man, and of all ages. Some of the men were their husbands. So this isn't a race issue. This is women, ladies, you know, be aware, be alert. And when it comes to dating, you may have to pull a piece of hair and clip his nail and give it to, the family member to have, just in case something come up, so you have some DNA. I mean, it sounds crazy, but you may have to be a little bit paranoid like that these days. But I'm glad that they found the young lady, so her mother can be at peace. And the horrible situation where the young lady was in the trunk of the vehicle, and they're not really saying who did it. And we understand who owned the vehicle, but they left so much vague that um, you just don't know what's going on. So that's why personally I haven't said anything, because I wouldn't be able to give you anything in addition to what any other um, YouTuber has said about the situation. And it's just horrible. It's just sad to know that these young women have lost their lives in that way. I mean, it's terrible. So definitely be careful out there. And then they were talking about the carrying license and so forth, and people not um, people not being able to get their permits, and that's pretty odd. So some people may be walking around with them without the permit, but I trust that people are mature enough to do what they need to do. Usually the situations are ones that shouldn't be um, have them and was able to get a permit. So who's to say? Who's to say? Uh, it's a beautiful day. Like I said, we get our steps in. That's the point. And I just wanted to congratulate all of you for making it through September, clearing out the clutter, setting up some more goals for yourself, and getting ready for this new year, because it's supposed to be a continuance of what you've been preparing for and what you've established since September. And that's why I wanted you guys to get your natal chart in astrology, so you would have an understanding of some things that you don't necessarily have to repeat, because you don't have to necessarily go through karmic situations. That's just not, it's not a necessity. So if you know someone is going to be karmic, or someone's going to be a pain in the ass, whatever word that you want to use for something that takes you out of your comfort, then there's other choices that you can make that will suit you a little bit better. It's about making better choices in life. And that's what we all want to do, is make better choices so we can have a more peaceful experience, at least in this form for now. So when I was driving through downtown, I was taking pictures and I was saying little notes to myself that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because there's a lot of empty buildings now. And what I didn't notice that I see now after they've cleaned it all out was they had, I guess it was temporary structures in the front of these people's yard, like this land. And it wasn't an actual structure. It was a temporary structure, and people were living there. And they cleared all that out. So I was looking at it like, why does it look so different and clear and clean? And that was because they had put up temporary shelters and built temporary housing for them to work. So it's not that the immigration issue, they overgeneralize, like I tell you guys I don't like to do sometimes, but that I do, because they generalize it and say the immigrants, all of them, the ones that are legal should not be tossed in together with the ones that are illegal. And here in California, we welcome all, apparently, is what they were saying. But what had happened, just like everything else, when they say when something's corrupt or something is not organized correctly, it begins to be messy. But it was a messy that California was willing to deal with. And now that you're starting to see the cleanup, you got less people on the streets. You got less what appears to be um, issues, because the resources are not strained as much anymore. Now, where did all these people go? Um, I'm not sure. Like I said, a lot of people were just saying they were going to wait it out. So where are they waiting it out? Who knows? That's their business. But that's what they're doing until, I guess, we do a change of the king at that time. So they now have available housing. You see more places for rent now. You see a lot of places for rent. You see less people out on the street. Um, it's different now. People aren't really talking, but I really don't talk a lot. So it's just a norm for me. Um, the environment is one where certain group of people act as if they're happy, but their behavior is very like they're angry or mad. But at who? Because you voted for this, you got what you want, so why are you still upset? What's the problem? Why are you upset? So if this is what you wanted, you get why I keep saying the same thing over. Why are you upset? Now, for me, I'm upset because the insurance company didn't pay, disabled, didn't get the wheelchair, complained to Medicare and my health care. They paid the people for something that I did receive. The insurance company forced me to have to apply for the government stuff so they could then take away the insurance money. I mean, I'm mad at my experience for what I had invested in so I wouldn't be in this position, being disabled. And when I went to try to get help with the resources here in California, they do treat you different than they do the immigrants. That is a fact. And they withhold information. And then when you go to certain facilities, sometimes they withhold the resources, whether it's the food, the drinks, the water. It is not welcoming for certain groups of people. Now it has changed a little bit. Everybody's kind of hush hush and quiet. Is it because of the fight between the Democrats and the Republicans? Possibly. But I'm sharing with you what you guys asked me to tell you about. What is it like in city life? What is it like with the immigrant situation? I never had any problems with them. However, I don't pay much attention. So that could be why I don't have any problem with it. I do my own thing. Now, if somebody's honking a horn or speaking Spanish, talking about somebody, it could be anybody, and I don't take it like they talking to me. However, like when I went to get assistance and I didn't get the help that I needed, then I realized, okay, then that includes me too, that they don't necessarily want to assist, whether it's with my vehicle situation or my handicap, needing another wheelchair, trying to get a home that has handicap accessible, facilities. All of that here in Los Angeles is available. So for me, they're just like, well, go to one of these places. Well, I don't need necessarily that. And that's why I could park at one of the family houses or friends or something. But what I do need is to get on a list or something for somebody who is handicapped, where I can take advantage of the resources. And they just don't want to put me on one of those type of lists. They don't want to help in that area. I don't know what that's about. But they will do it for immigrants who have nothing. So I had went to one facility and she was saying, well, you don't make enough money. Well, that's why I'm trying to get onto like a Section 8 or some type of that subsidizes your rent. And then she says, well, you have to be below this, but you can't be below that. I mean, they had so many little things that they use. I'm like, I know immigrants damn well don't have zero. So what are you saying? That's how I know that these people aren't lying when they're telling you about the resources and how they're giving it to them versus how they're scrutinizing it when it comes to giving it to us who are citizens. Because you're talking to people that got zero versus people that may have a little of something, but then they didn't quite qualify because they only made 1,300 and they need 1,500. That didn't make any sense. And that's when they get quiet and they don't want to share the resources of how these people who got zero was able to get what they got. So I'm sharing it with you guys. If you got any questions about any of it, let me know. Um, I'll probably put another video together just for the sake of a video, um, giving you my experience, because I'm sure somebody else may come along and say, well, do this, that, and the other. And please note below, you can leave your comments after I post this. Even though it is live, I will go ahead and post this one, and you guys can leave suggestions of ways to still be able to get what you need. And that's what it's all about, is getting what you need and enjoying your life. And that's what I'm doing. I'm enjoying mine. So if there's anything else, I will go ahead and sign off. And like I said, congratulations, guys. You have been doing the work, and it shows with the energy. We won the $10. Um, little stuff. I even though you're supposed to celebrate it like it's just a humongous win, to me that's some food. I bought fruit with mine. I bought some fruit with mine, and of course, if there's anything extra, put it in the gas tank. So I just showing my gratitude. If there's anything in particular, as I always say, that you guys want to talk about, leave it below. We'll talk about it. And as always, I'm wishing the best for all of you, that you're making the best decisions for yourself, and that you're receiving the best, even out of the people who are in your communities. So much love and respect, and we shall chat later. We don't want the light on. Turn the light on. Here he goes.